أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من اللعين الشيطان الرجيم. بفضل الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا المبعوث رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، أرواحنا لتراب مقدمه الفداء. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أوصيكم عباد الله وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل والورع عن محارمه. أوصيكم ونفسي بالاجتهاد للتحلي بالمكارم من الأخلاق وتأسي بالنبي صلى الله عليه وآله كما أمرنا الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم كتابه المجيد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity to be here today, and so that we can remind each other on an important obligation, and that is to seek the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through acquiring of piety. I would like to continue with my discussion on Dua al-Makarim al-Akhlaq, which teaches us the sublime akhlaq, the noble traits that every Muslim should endeavor to acquire. It is through this dua that we can perfect our iman, and we can enhance our levels of piety, and we may acquire through that the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Al-Imam, from the beginning of the dua, which I will read part of it, then I will comment bi'awnillahi ta'ala on the part that I will mention at the end. He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa alih وبلغ بإيماني أكمل الإيمان واجعل يقيني أفضل اليقين وانته بنيتي إلى أحسن النيات وبعملي إلى أحسن الأعمال. اللهم وفر بلطفك نيتي وصحح بما عندك يقيني واستصلح بقدرتك ما فسد مني. اللهم صل على محمد وآله واكفني ما يشغلني الاهتمام به واستعملني بما تسألني غدا عنه واستفرغ أيامي فيما خلقتني له وأغنني وأوسع علي في رزقك ولا تفتني بالنظر وأعزني ولا تبتليني بالكبر. We have so far discussed the first few lines of this dua till where Imam says, وَاسْتَصْلِحْ بِقُدْرَتِكَ مَا فَسَدَ مِنِّي, that set right what has gone wrong in me, what has been corrupted of me amongst the a'mal, the deeds. Oh Allah, set it right. Help me to rectify and change it. In the second part, Imam says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa alih. Just a small point on this. You realize in the Sahifa Sajadiyya that the Imam repeatedly mentioned salawat. before saying any small part of dua, he starts with Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali. This is to teach us, according to the riwayat, that no dua, no supplication, no prayer can reach the skies, reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be accepted without the mention of salawat on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And this is one of the etiquettes of dua, that before mentioning your mas'ala, before praying for your need, you need to send the blessings on the Prophet and his progeny. Then he says, وَكْفِنِي مَا يَشْغَلُنِي الْإِهْتِمَامُ بِهِ. So, وَكْفِنِي means, O Allah, take care of that which I'm concerned about. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to suffice you of carrying out certain things that are on you, that have become your concern. Something that is bothering you. So, oh Allah, take care of it. وَكْفِنِي مَا يَشْغَلُنِي الْإِهْتِمَامُ بِهِ. Spare me the concerns which distract me. Those kind of things that you are bothered with, and you have to carry them out. And Ayatollah Sheikh Makarim Shirazi, in his commentary on this dua, says, there are two types of obligations on a person. There are those kind of obligations that one has to carry them out himself, and no one else can carry them on his behalf. The example of prayers, of fasting, of going for Hajj, seeking of knowledge, these are obligations that a person has to carry them out by himself. You cannot ask someone to pray on your behalf. You cannot ask someone to learn on your behalf. You cannot ask someone to go Hajj on your behalf if you are alive. These are obligations that you have to do them yourself. And there are other obligations which by a person doesn't require to carry them out himself. What he needs to see is that they are done. Something is accomplished. It is your concern, it is on you, it's bothering you, but it's not necessarily that you do it yourself. And he gives this beautiful example. A person who is seeking knowledge, is learning, carrying out this obligation, but at the same time, he is supposed to take care of his father who is sick. So he is obliged to abandon his studies and perhaps take medicine to his father and take care of him, because it's his obligation. Logically, from the Sharia point of view, it is his obligation to look after his parent. So if he is going to take care of his father, travel back home, he is going to be distracted from his main obligation, that is seeking knowledge. And therefore, he will be forced to abandon this obligation. He will be distracted from this. But if he finds someone else in the home country, for example, who could carry out that obligation, perhaps take the medicine to his father, or take care of his father on his behalf, he will be spared from all the struggles, from other things, and he will be able to continue with his obligation. So someone else can take medicine to his father and take care of him, take him to hospital and all that. He has been spared of this. And many things in our lives are just like that. So many times we face situations whereby we have several number of obligations which are competing with each other. They call them in fiqh as tazahum. So which one is a priority? You may be required to carry out 2 things at a go. You cannot do them at a go. You have to choose one of them. In this dua, Imam is telling us, is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take care of those things that will distract him from paying attention to the main actions, to main deeds, to main obligations that concerns him at the individual level. He has to carry them out himself. Oh Allah, ikfini ma yashghaluni al-ihtimamu bih. So I'm concerned with it. It's my obligation. But, oh Allah, since it is in your hands, you have the power, you are the cause of causes, that give me that kind of support, that nothing will distract me from the main things. And sometimes, you get lost in things. And you are forced to take this direction, to take that direction, to take care of this and that. And by the end of the day, you miss out the most important obligations that concerns you as at individual level. So Imam says, وَقْفِنِ مَا يَشْغَلُنِ الْإِهْتِمَامُ بِهِ. Immediately after this, so that you have freed me from those obligations by providing me with channels, with assistances of other people who would do them on my behalf. So he says, وَاسْتَعْمِلْنِ بِمَا تَسْأَلُنِي غَدًا عَنْ. That employ me in that which you are going to ask me about tomorrow. Make me be able to carry out those kind of wajibat, those kind of obligations, those kind of things that tomorrow you are going to question me about. Meaning that now you are freed, you have been assisted, you have got time to act, to carry out some of those actions that are supposed are wajib on you. So, oh Allah, make me be able to carry out these ones, be able to focus on these ones, and not be distracted to other things. That I pay attention to those things that you are going to ask me about tomorrow, which starts immediately after you departing from this world. So the expression is ghadan. Ghadan means very close. This tomorrow you are going to question me about. Help me to carry out those things. وَاسْتَعْمِلْنِي. Employ me, make me be involved with focus on those things that you're going to question me about. So one has to think, what are those things that you'll be asked about? You'll be questioned about. There are a number of things that a person is going to be questioned about. So what are those things? Definitely, there comes wajibat, comes things that you are supposed to refrain from, comes things that you are supposed to pay attention to. As we are told in a hadith, no one on the day of Qiyamah lifts his foot unless he's asked about 5 things. So he's going to be questioned about his time, how he spent it, about his youth, how he passed it, about his wealth, how did he earn it and how did he spend it. He'll be asked about the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, those kind of things, about his life, everything that involves him in this world, about his prayers, about his all obligations. So in this dua, in this part, Imam draws our attention to what we are going to be questioned about, so that we do not get distracted by those things that are not important, that we are not going to be answerable to, that are not crucial in our own lives. So no one is going to be asked, why did you eat did you not eat warm food, for example? Wear the best of the clothes. Drive this car. Why did you not use this and that? There is nowhere where you will find that you are going to be asked about these things that we pay attention to. Employ me in what you are going to question me. وَاسْتَفْرِغْ أَيَّامِ فِي مَا خَلَقْتَنِي لَهُ. Empty my days. Let my days be only filled with those things that you have created me for. So istafrigh, Imam is looking at the days as vessels that we fill in with several things. So we fill these days with all actions, with what we say, with what we do. So many things we fill them in these days. Imam says, I want to empty everything out of these days, out of my life, except that which you have created me for. Drawing again our attention to the goal of life, the purpose of existence. We are so much concerned with things that are not our purpose of existence, do not have any connection with our existence. And we lose focus, and we become distracted, and we pay so much attention to those things. Imam draws attention to this. Let me focus on my goal of existence, on the purpose of this life. What is it? And when you look at the Quran, we discussed this one of the nights, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created the jinn and the ins, the human beings, except for this one reason, for one purpose. That is that they worship me. Okay, worship maybe in English has different interpretations, different meanings. But how it is understood from the Arabic language is this, is that that you follow willingly and that you submit yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow His path. It is about servitude. It is about following the orders and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, humbling yourself in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to carry out His obligation, to carry out His plan. So I accept myself to be under the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not a master in my own right. I'm a slave of Allah. And therefore, my existence, the whole of my existence, is nothing but something attached to the real existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not have independence in this. Ya ayuha nas antumul fuqara ila Allah. You are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are His subject. You don't have an independent existence. Your existence and whatever you have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, I follow His way. I follow His instruction. I submit myself to Him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this to be in a different way. He made it to be out of your own choices. Willingly. That you submit yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that you can move towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can move towards the goal of existence, towards perfection by your own will. The iradatik. And this is the difference between us and other creations. The angels have been created and they are fixed to behave in a certain way. They cannot go against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they only have the intellect, the aql, which does not command but good. We are different from the animals, which they only follow the instincts. The natural instincts, that's what drives them. So they eat, they drink, they exist, they survive because of the instincts. But human beings have got shahwat, have got instincts, desires, at the same time have got the aql. They have to create a balance between them. And they have to strive. And they have to make their own path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to do. Therefore, the human being who realizes that it is his goal to be a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that he has to submit fully to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does not behave like a master of his own. Therefore, it is Allah and it's me. This belongs to Allah, this belongs to me, and I have this right and he has this right, and there's separation. So we end up seeing some sort of equality, right? We have our own independence. The true believer does not have kind of this feeling. That's why we say in the tashahhud, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. That the greatest level, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, the highest level is to become abdan lillah. By your own will, by your own struggle, that you become abdan lillah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a complete, is perfect abdun lillah. And that is his honor. That is the greatest level that he achieved. So Imam says, وَاسْتَفْرِغْ أَيَّامِ فِيمَا خَلَقْتَنِ لَهُ. Let my days be for what you created me for. Let me not be lost in other things. We turn the existence of this world, being on this world, to be the goal by itself, while it's supposed to be the means, while it's supposed to be the channel, while it's supposed to be a temporal place, it becomes our focus. So all our attention is drawn to this. And all our pain is about this world. All our happiness is about this world. Everything is secondary. And this, by the way, does not only mean those who are not believers, those who are not Muslims are the ones who follow into this. We could be at the same time that we are praying, we are Muslims, we are consider ourselves mu'minun, but dunya is our priority. Everything else follows our dunya. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And this is our goal. So what is your goal in your life? This is what should be driving us. Our learning, going to school, going to college, training, working, earning, all these should be driven to this goal. If learning goes to takes us to another direction, the work we do takes us to another direction, our business takes us to another direction, we deviate and we get distracted, then there's a problem in that. All our activities are supposed to take us to one goal, and that is to be ibadan lillah. That's why we say, inna salati wa nuski wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. All my prayers, all my fasting, all my nusk, all everything, my life, my death is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what Imam tells us here. وَاسْتَفْرِغْ أَيَّامِ فِيمَا خَلَقْتَنِ لَهُ وَأَغْنِنِي وَأَوْسِعْ عَلَيَّ مِنْ رِزْقِكَ. And he says, Oh Allah, free me from need. Aghnini, ghina. In the commentary of this, Sheikh Makarim Shirazi says, and other ulamas would agree with him also, ghina here, it is the richness of the soul in the first place, before the richness of the material things in the world. That the soul is rich. That there is satisfaction in the soul. That one accepts what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him and doesn't feel in need of others.